The life and crimes of Britain's most notorious prisoner, Charles Bronson. Charles Bronson was born Michael Gordon Peterson in Luton, Bedfordshire, on December 1952. He was one of three sons of Era and Joe Peterson. His aunt and uncle were the mayor and mayoress of the town. His aunt once described Bronson as gentle and mild-mannered, never a bully. He would defend the weak. When he was a teenager, his family moved to Ellesmere Port, Cheshire, where he first started getting into trouble. Aged 13, he was a part of a gang of robbers and ended up in court for stealing. His first job, believe it or not, was at Tesco's, where he was sacked for attacking a manager. Bronson's first taste of custody came when he was remanded for criminal damage for smashing up parked cars. Bronson got into serious trouble for the first time after crashing a stolen lorry into a car. By 19, he was convicted for the role in a robbery. Peterson met his first wife, Irene Kelsey, in 1971. Their son, Michael Jonathan Peterson, was born the following year. The couple divorced 5 years later. Bronson was convicted of armed robbery in 1974 and jailed for 7 years. He was sent to Walton Jail, Liverpool, but was transferred to Hull after he attacked 2 inmates. Bronson was transferred to Armley Jail in Leeds after attacking a prisoner at Hull with a glass jug. His reputation as a dangerous prisoner increased and he was regularly switched between prisons. Bronson continued to attack other convicts, damage property and spend periods of time in solitary confinement. At HMP Wandsworth, he attempted to poison the prisoner in the next cell to him. He was moved to Parkhurst, a psychiatric facility on the Isle of Wight in 1976. There he befriended the Cray twins, describing the London gangsters as the best 2 guys he had ever met. Bronson spent 4 months in isolation after he was caught trying to dig his way out of his cell. He was detained under the Mental Health Act after attempting suicide and attacking another prison officer. Periods were spent in Broadmoor and Rampton Hyde security hospitals. In 1982, he carried out his first rooftop protest at Broadmoor. During a second rooftop protest lasting 3 days, £250,000 worth of damage was caused before he was talked down. In 1984, he started an 18-day-long hunger strike before being transferred to Ashworth Hospital. There, he used the sauce bottle to stab a patient who made advances towards him. Bronson was returned to the general prison population in 1985, but was put into isolation after punching an inmate. Later that year, he was returned to Liverpool, where he staged another 3-day rooftop protest, causing £100,000 worth of damage. In 1987, he strangled the governor of Wormwood Scrubs. That year, he was released from prison, where he began a short-lived career in bare-knuckle boxing in the East End of London. He changed his name to Charles Bronson on the advice of his fight promoter, having never seen a film starring the American actor. On New Year's Day in 1988, he robbed a jewellery shop and stole a ring for his girlfriend. He pleaded guilty to the armed robbery and was sentenced to 7 years. At Long Lartin Jail in 1989, he ran riot in the nude, clutching onto a spear he'd fashioned out of a broken bottle and a broom handle. Bronson was released from prison in November 1992, but was arrested over a robbery conspiracy 53 days later. He was subsequently given an 8-year sentence. While on remand, he took a librarian hostage and demanded an inflatable doll, a helicopter and a cup of tea from police negotiators. He was transferred to HMP Wakefield's cage in 1994, where prison officers encouraged Bronson to take up art. In 1996, he took a prison doctor hostage at Birmingham. Later that year, he took 3 inmates hostage in his cell. He demanded a plane to take him to Libya, 2 submachine guns, 5,000 rounds of ammunition and an axe. In 1999, he took a civilian education worker hostage for criticising one of his drawings. Bronson got married again in 2001 to Fatima Raham in Woodhill Prison. She'd seen a story about him in a newspaper and began writing to him. They divorced 4 years later. In 2002, he published Solitary Fitness, a guidebook on physical training in confined spaces. The film Bronson was released in 2008, a biopic starring Tom Hardy, and is based on his life. He was refused parole after a hearing in 2009. In August 2013, a petition with 10,000 signatures was presented to 10 Downing Street for his release. Bronson announced in 2014 that he was changing his name to Charles Salvador, stating, "The old me dried up. Bronson came alive in 1987. He died in 2014. In November 2018, he was found not guilty of attempting to inflict grievous bodily harm on the governor of HMP Wakefield after a trial at Leeds Crown Court. Charles Bronson remains in prison to this day.